Wait, so there's this game called Catherine Full Body, where this person is named Catherine. This one is also Catherine, and another Catherine too? Are there any other Catherines I should know about?
We want it.
Who's Catherine?
I don't know.
Now that's comedy.
Well, this was amusing. Almost a year ago, I released my first review, and this was before they showed their name as Catherine with a Q. Yes, I didn't change the title. I'm a psychic.
Really?
Also, I won't be spoiling much from the game because it's pretty short, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, here we are with its remake, and it kinda mirrors the situation with a lot of the Persona games. If you didn't know already, the last few Persona games have had at least one remake, where they add a new character, new mechanics.
Oh yeah?
Well, it seems like Catherine also got that treatment by Atlas. Now, when it was first announced, I was really skeptical, as I had played Catherine for the first time only in January of 2018, and its graphics and gameplay still held up, at least for me. So when it was announced it was getting a golden style remake, I went, wait, what more can they do? Was there even a need for this? And that became the biggest hurdle for me to get over with this game. Is it even worth getting? With all this extra content, given that the original is now on Steam, meaning it's very easy to access for people these days. Well, let's find out, shall we?
Sure.
So Catherine is very similar to the Persona games in that it has two distinct sections. One where you have cutscenes and choices relating to the adult drama, and the other are the nightmare puzzles, where you must climb towers of blocks to reach your freedom. The main premise is that it's, well, a television reality show, as you will constantly see this watermark that TV stations love to use. You, the player, are introduced to the show by this lady who had a hairstyle change. Trying to get the Disney lawyers angry, are we?
Jeez.
Anyway, the game follows Vincent, who is with his girlfriend Catherine with a K, and each night over the course of a week, he visits this bar with his friends called the Stray Sheep, where they discuss many life problems. The bar is run by...
My.
You know, it's funny looking back at this now, and how big of a deal I made about this creepy old man in my original review, but over the past year, yeah, Japan sure loves that stereotype in their games.
Me eat you whole.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Now Vincent likes the consistency. He doesn't like change, which I guess is relatable for a lot of people growing up. However, life doesn't care about his feelings and hits him with a change out of nowhere when this blonde girl, Catherine with a C, meets and sleeps with him, thus beginning his nightmarish week. Now to anyone watching, did you realize I just said the summary for Catherine, the original game? Well, surprise, it's also the same for Catherine Full Body. A majority of the game is the exact same, like with the Persona remakes. However, this time, there was a big notable change in the opening with this pink-haired character named Quatherine. You know their name is shortened to Rin? I made my choice. So Quatherine is running away from some monster and, bumps into Vincent.
It's gonna be one of those games, isn't it?
Now to help Quatherine, Vincent gets them a job at the Stray Sheep as the pianist. Might have been a bad idea, Vincent or pal.
My.
So apart from that, the game is pretty similar to the previous one, albeit with new lines thrown in where people discuss the new character Quatherine. Albeit with new lines thrown in where people discuss the new character Quatherine. Although from what I noticed, many of these lines don't really mesh that well.
See you cooperate with someone else to reach the top. But if either you die...
I guess this could be due to the years-long gap. However, they did manage to get most of the voice actors back, which are pretty much all the usual Persona ones.
Oh yeah?
So the game goes as follows. Vincent will be at a bar with his friends talking about what happened the night before, and you can then choose to talk to them for more dialogue, or you can walk up and talk to other guests. Or you don't be social and chug your drink away, which does get you intoxicated.
Drinking is bad, kiddos.
All that alcohol is bad for your liver.
Alright, so jumping back to the story after the night with C. Catherine, Vincent has a nightmare where he grows horns and is surrounded by sheep. Thus begins the tower gameplay. So this is where you have a grid and you have to move Vincent up to the top to escape. And over time, the floors below will start to collapse. And the quicker you do this, the higher your rank is. If you care for that sort of thing.
You've got potential.
Now moving in a direction, Vincent will climb over a block, and holding X with that direction, he will either push or pull the block if able to. Honestly, this is the majority of the gameplay, moving the blocks around using items in a timely fashion to help him escape. However, the simple premise is met with a lot of strategic gameplay, as you will have to know which blocks to move, how the tower changes to this, any gimmick blocks in the way, how you shimmy yourself around, all in a quick time limit. So the new features here would be, firstly, you can turn some blocks into Tetris-like shapes to offer a bit more challenge, and secondly, a baby mode. No, I'm serious, you literally just press R1 and the game does the puzzle for you. I guess this is for people who don't really care about the puzzles that much and want to see the story cutscenes, or if you're bad at the game like a certain someone.
Yikes.
Now the top isn't the end of the nightmare, as Vincent arrives at this landing checkpoint area, where you can save or talk to other sheep.
You want an item? Pony up some coins.
Oh, how I missed you, big boy.
I love money.
The cool thing about this is that most of the sheep here that have unique designs are people in the real world that you can interact with, as the premise for the game is that there is a curse going around affecting men who cheat, aka Vincent. They all get put through this test, and if they don't clear the puzzles that night, they die in the real world. But being the super special MC, you can change their fate by talking to them here and in the bar. Vincent will slowly convince them of the errors in their ways, which is kind of ironic, and the sheep survive to the end. If you ignore them, you slowly get the news that they're passing, meaning they fell to the curse. Now Full Body adds these two characters, a chef and his rich master, and honestly, they were my favorite out of every single sheep. Come on, just let me have some of it. Another new feature as well, Catherine. They are somehow here, playing the piano. You and the sheep can get more dialogue with them, because apparently the piano helps Vincent climb. So then you move into the confessional where the choices begin, as the narrator will ask you a question, and you have to answer truthfully. Or look at a guide to pick the answer to get your preferred ending. Link in the description. Then afterwards you move on to the next floor. Now what I mentioned earlier with the new dialogue, I don't recall if this was in the previous game, but if you press X after the first line is still going, the line will still keep playing, overlaid on the other one.
I didn't think you'd be able to lead the other sheep. It appears that pianist is providing you with emotional support.
It really feels like any new dialogue was meshed weirdly on top of the old ones. And speaking of sound inconveniences, did you know Sojiro narrates the game?
Frightening nightmares will haunt our protagonist. Choose this if you wish to hone your skills.
Well, he really loves it because he narrates all the menu options, which can get annoying after you heard them once. And one of the weirdest things for a modern game, you can't adjust the audio levels. The music plays extremely loudly, and if there weren't any subtitles, I wouldn't even know what they're saying. But anyway, once you answer his question, it shows you what other choices people made, then you go to the next puzzle. After a few of them, Vincent arrives at the boss level, and clearing it wakes him up. You know, this game pretty much taught me about how weird sheep's eyes are.
My.
So then a cutscene plays that is definitely family friendly, showing the aftermath of Vincent's actions with C. Catherine, which he can't seem to remember. The game then cuts to the next night at the bar, where he tells the others of his actions that he supposedly did, cheating on his girlfriend. But hey, yeah, don't think that the bar is just for talking. You can play a mini game called Rapunzel, which is an arcade version of the puzzles. Honestly, the levels here are so much harder than the main game, at least for me, the pro gamer. Now back to the drinking.
I swear I don't have a problem.
When you finish a glass, Sojiro gives you some alcohol trivia.
Rum is made from the sugar cane grown in the Caribbean.
But once you finish, Vincent can order some other drink. Wait a minute. Wine? Where's the whiskey? They removed it? Oh, this won't stand. Whiskey gang, rise up. You do know they did it because full body is a wine term. Well, to calm down, why don't we listen to some music? Yeah, because they have a jukebox to change the songs in the bar. Sorry, what's that? They removed all the Shin Megami Tensei songs because SMT5 is cancelled? Wait, what are you talking about? There are plenty of SMT songs. Like you have Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3, Shin Megami Tensei Persona 4. Now another feature in Full Body was Atlas realizing you can send more picture messages on your phone. Yes, this is core P5 Royal gameplay. This also adds on top of the phone mechanic, where at times Vincent will get text from the three, and responding to them might swing this bar one way or the other, which determines how some cutscenes play out. As say you're in the blue, your answers to the cutscenes will support K. Catherine and not C. Catherine. But with these texts you can get images from the three love interests.
Can't look at this in public.
Of course you can't view it in public, and have to sit in the bathroom to look at it. Wait, is that?
Wait, really?
But yeah, in the main story, that's pretty much all the small changes over the original, where you have some new endings involving the new Catherine and the other two. But like I said in my first review, I never honestly found myself liking any of the main characters, and Vincent never seemed like a great guy. I just keep playing it for the unique gameplay and music. My favorite characters were actually a lot of the side ones, but since it is a brand new route, I did go with Catherine to see what they added. And let me just say this. Oh boy, are those puzzles so much easier. I don't know if it was because it's been so long since the original and they forgot how to make them challenging, but the new routes puzzles might have been the easiest in the game. I mean, even me, the pro gamer, turned off autoplay to beat them in one go. Also another thing, I don't remember if this was in the other routes, but when you finish it, the game takes you out of the TV, where Mickey Mouse then explains what you just saw. Like, isn't this a game targeted towards older audiences? I can understand what's going on, okay?
No complaining.
Now that's just the story, but there are also other modes with Babel, where it's just the puzzles but without the undo feature. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, the story mode has an undo mechanic like Fire Emblem, to take you back turns if you make mistakes. But here in Babel, it's raw skill, so of course I didn't make it too far. You then have online mode to verse other players, and this would have been great to finally verse someone online, but yeah, that's not really happening, isn't it?
My.
Yeah, that leaves me with a tough decision to answer the question, is this game even worth getting when the original is out on PC? Okay, so let's look at Persona. Now, with those remakes, most people will tell you they are actually worth it and are their favorite interpretations of the games. But here, I can see that potential. However, I must remind you that the story isn't that long for one route, so the game is pretty much the same as the original with some small changes here and there, plus the few extra routes. I mean with Catherine, if you ignored them in the bar and on the landing and didn't talk to them at all, the game would show no character development of them outside of cutscenes, and it would feel like you're literally playing the original game. So then, I guess I would recommend this version to newcomers, or you can just get the one on Steam, which is usually cheaper. I mean the style of game that this is, with adult characters who drink, work, and the puzzle gameplay is so rare these days. I would recommend you to try this out for yourself at least once. But if you played the original, I can't tell you if any of these new features are worth it when you have so much of the same story. But for newcomers, I guess it's whatever console and funds you have that you might want to try this game out. Because come on, they're not going to remake the game again, right? Why no, I'm not just putting this in the end of the video on the off chance they do so I can say I told you so. Why do you ask?
Huh?
But yeah, I guess I really don't know how to end this video here, so to reward those of you who stuck around, have some cheese on the house.
Jeez.
Yeah, cheese. Cheese.
Jeez.
Trojan, RamZaes, Magnum, Chic.